I am so delighted to be here, to be filming. It's a beautiful sunny day, and yeah, we've got some summer knits and some finish objects and a bunch of new cast-ons that are a little wild and out there. If you are new, I'm an art curator by day and a ferocious knitter by night. I'm based in the Bay Area, California, and I love knitting. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and can I just say thanks for hanging in. I have been working on a new professional work project that has absolutely kind of taken over my life a little bit, but it's really exciting, and it's actually really related to this podcast in some ways. I'll talk about it a little bit at the end, but basically I'm developing an online course, and I never would have thought of doing that if I hadn't been putting myself kind of out there in this knitting capacity. And I know I'm not an expert, I'm just an enthusiast, and this is not really a kind of learning type YouTube channel. It's really more about sharing, but it's really made me feel okay putting myself out there in a new way. And I know that's something I talk about at the end of every episode. That was one of my primary intentions in starting this YouTube channel, and it has made a really direct impact on my life and on my work life and on my personal life, and I'm really just very grateful for this space and this community. And yeah, anyway, I'll get into the particulars about all of that at the end of the episode. And yeah, I'm really excited. So that's really fun. What else is going on? Any other housekeeping? Oh, the Tulsa Time knit along has been so much fun. I think it has been amazing to see all of the Tulstas out in the world, and I am wearing mine today. This is the Tulsta by I finished this before the last one, so you've seen this before, but this is the Tulsa Tee by Rebecca Clow, and I love it. I've worn this way more than I thought I would. I wore it to the beach the other day as kind of a swimsuit cover-up with a pair of cutoffs. I've worn it kind of more dressed up, obviously, with a pair of crisp white jeans. Is really nice, and it's super, super wearable, and that gets me into my finished objects. This is my Tulsa Tee made up in Magpie's Equinox Sport, and this is an amazing yarn. I mean, genuinely, everyone needs a silk and linen blend t-shirt. This is spectacular. It is so light. It's clearly super drapey. I love the other colors that this comes in also. I went for my kind of typical blues and turquoise, but there's some really lovely warm colors and neutrals, and yeah, it's just amazing. I've worn this quite a bit. It's a little bit wrinkled actually because it was not put away properly. But yeah, it looks great under blazers too. I'll insert a little picture of me wearing it in kind of a workwear context, but I love it. And this is the same pattern. When you buy the pattern, it comes with not really instructions, but more like different recipes, ways that you could kind of mix it up. I did the eyelets on this one. Here I did stripes, and it looks really good just plain stockinette too. So the world is your oyster with this pattern. It's so much fun. I was actually thinking, because you can also be really flexible with your gauge, it might be a great one to just turn into your everyday raglan sweater, because I think the neckline in particular works really well and the rate of increasing. One thing I did do for both of these though is that I did some waist shaping so that it does come in a little bit, and I think for me at least on a t-shirt, I like that. I think it is just in the way that I'll wear them. It's nice to have that little bit of shape. So anyway, Tulsa time was awesome. And I'm so, so glad that I made my second one. And then I kind of, guys, it's been a lot. So I have this really big project I'm working on. I am definitely now going to Rhinebeck for sure, which is super exciting. And so I had this moment where I knew I need to get through my Twigs. And then I was like, well, what am I going to wear at Rhinebeck? And then I had this thought, well, I should definitely knit up and wear things that I bought at Rhinebeck last year. And so that's when things got a little hairy. The first thing I cast on, was that right? I might actually have cast this on second. This is the Please Don't Ask, or just maybe it's just Don't Ask cardigan by Isabella Kramer. And I knit this in, sorry, it's kind of hard to hold because I haven't put buttons on it yet. So I guess it's not technically all the way finished. But I have blocked it and I love it. This is such an amazing construction. It's super elegant. I'll pop it on right now. I knit this in the Birdie from the Lamb & Kid in the colorway Vollaré. And I held it with, sorry about that. So I held the Vollaré Big Birdie with this really nice yarn that I got. It's called Golden Sheep Fibers. She sells on Etsy, and it's local to me here in the Bay Area. This is her BFL sock, and it's 75% superwash British blue face luster and 25% nylon. I got this yarn when I was doing my dark teal yarn acquisition spree, looking for something to use on my Twigs. But in any case, it looks amazing with the Birdie Vollaré, I think. And the fit is amazing. I'm trying to kind of get up in here so you guys can see the shoulder shaping, which is super elegant and is done with these little faux seams all around the shoulder cap. And I loved the process of making this. Sorry, I'm taking out it's hot. I love the process of making it. Yes, it's a lot of purling, but it's a beautiful knit. And the button band finish I also really, really love. It just looks super crisp and clean with those little garter ridges on there. There's a faux seam along the back as well. And it's just a super classic cardigan. As I had mentioned, here you can see, this is a nice way of kind of seeing that shoulder shaping and raglan. It's great. It's a great pattern. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And it was a really beautiful way, I think, of showcasing this pretty amazing hand-dyed colorway as well. And it's gonna be a staple in my wardrobe. I've already worn it, even though it doesn't have buttons on it. And I used it to wear over a quite formal dress at an event last week, and so I was nice and warm in the evening, and it was just great. I love this sweater. And these are the buttons I got for it. I need to put them on, as I said, but I'm really excited about these two. They're natural abalone shell, and this was what I planned. As soon as I cast on the sweater, I said I want to get natural abalone shell buttons. And this is from a vintage button seller on Etsy. You can kind of hopefully see a little bit of the green and iridescent colors there. There's little purple flashes. They're just really beautiful. I really love them. And I think that they'll make a really cool addition to the sweater have that kind of little jewelry moment with them. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. It was a surprise cast on in a way. It wasn't something I'd planned for a long time. It was just part of this impulse to, okay, I got this, that Vollaré, what's it, Birdie from Lamb and Kid at Rhinebeck last year. I want to knit with it and wear it to Rhinebeck this year. So that was a really, really fun project that kind of just hopped on and hopped off the needles fairly swiftly. The other Rhinebeck inspired project is my Sonder sweater. And this is made in the amazing Bonnybrooke Farms natural wools. So these are all the natural fleece colors, and it's a very rustic spin. This is not like a consistently spun yarn. You'll have lots of kind of big kind of nips and blips in it, but it feels so soft. It's unbelievably soft. It's the kind of epitome to me of a soft rustic yarn. It's amazing. You can feel the lanolin in it, but it's not, it smells clean and clear, and there's been a little bit of you know, barnyard debris, but not a lot at all. And it's all been very, very soft. I love working this. I've been a little nervous about how much yarn I have, but I tried it on and it's actually quite it's quite big. Obviously I have it on a smaller than it would be, what's it called? Wire, cable here. But here, I'm just gonna get up close so you guys can see this awesome, I just love the way it's working up in this pattern. I think it's a really good fit for it. So I think I actually am not doing the last round of increases because I tried it on and it's already quite big in the shoulders. And so I have 3 more of this main color. This is their silver, which is just beautiful. And I really should have gotten another one of these to make this sweater, but I didn't. And then I have quite a bit left too of the white, and then this dark, I forget what color what do they call this? They call this one Stone, which I love. And again, this is just the natural color of the wool. So beautiful. Love working with this, and I can totally imagine getting more from this vendor as well. They were at Woolen Folk, Bonnybrooke Farms. So, and the white is also just gleaming, so pretty. And yeah, so this is the Sonder sweater, which is by the Petit knitter. And it's a really easy, like no super long floats color work sweater. It's just the yoke. Though I have thought about doing additional color work on the cuffs and sleeves just to kind of break up the main color, and if I really start to run out. I also did the stripes, or the kind of racing stripes collar, is something that I did in another color work sweater I completed last year, and I thought it worked really well, so I did it again. And I think it's a nice way of kind of adding a little touch of something, and the white also just kind of being up by the face. I think it's always nice to kind of brighten up your face. So yeah, so this is the Sonder sweater in Bonnybrooke Farms yarn that was also purchased when I was at Rhinebeck last year. But my main squeeze, or what should be my main squeeze, if I weren't distracted by knitting all of the things and creating wild mid-October deadlines for myself that I do not need, it really should be my twigs. So twig time is still happening. I have taken a little break since I split for sleeves, but I have to say, I think it's really beautiful. I'm really, really, really happy with the way it's going. It's quite large. I have done a bit of maths to, I did not do a couple rounds of increases. The increase rounds are also very rapid. So it really has a kind of sharp, rather than some increase lines kind of being more like this goes out very sharply to get you that really full look. So this still will be a very full oversized sweater, but it's not going to be quite as big. I have the body to finish and then the sleeves, obviously. I'm getting a little bit nervous about getting it done in time, but I'm also really, I know once I get going again on it, it will be good. I also did switch around a few of the motifs just because I felt like they would match my colors a little better. For example, I knew I wanted to do the green and the cream again right after having done it above this main large motif. So I used a different pattern than what was called for below. Hey, Twigs, it's happening. And I am really excited about it. I just have to kind of get back to it and get into a rhythm with it. And speaking of rhythm, I'm really going quickly, I realize. This is a lot of material. I'm gonna slow down, take a sip of the coffee. Okay. But I guess this has been my knitting energy, to be honest. I have been, I think because of all this work stuff and, you know, still doing family stuff, still trying to have some sort of exercise routine, like trying to stay on top of everything. With knitting, it's been this one place where I can just kind of go wild and be a little undisciplined. So I have been, yeah, not very disciplined with my knitting, but I think quite productive. I cast on, as I intended, my husband's sweater. This is the High Lonesome by Caitlin Hunter. And I'm knitting this in Purl Soho's Good Wool and the Spincycle, not dyed in the wool, the other one, the large one, Dream State. So this is a really fun colorway too. This is from Knit Stars. It's their custom color, and I just thought it was a really nice group of neutrals, just kind of mellow but strongly contrasted too. So I think that's going to be great. I decided to actually stop here and have him try it on because the next round of increases is going to be, again, like a big jump. So he's kind of, I feel like, between a size 6 and a size 7. And my idea for this sweater was to give it to him for our anniversary and have it be a surprise. But I think what I'm gonna do is actually give this to him and have him try it on, and then I'll be able to finish it off. Which I think will be really nice. And I'm excited to give him something that is color work, because I love knitting color work, but also I think very wearable for him. It's not, you know, it's in a more kind of neutral color palette than what I usually do, which are really, you know, brights, I would say. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I hope he likes it. We'll see how it goes with the try on in a couple months. But this is now going back to hibernation land because of all the other things that I've gotten myself into. Okay, so I did cast on Andrea Mowery's Rhinebeck sweater, and I was very good and cast it on in stash, I think quite beautifully. This is the Sonder Yarn Co.'s custom colorway for Spincycle, and this is not in Andrea Mowery's pattern, but I did do corrugated ribbing for the colorwork section, and had just started. This is a bottom-up sweater. I should have given you more info. This is a sweater that is done as a collaboration between yarn dyers and the designer Andrea Mowery in kind of celebration of the Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool Festival in upstate New York, which happens every October. And I think this is gonna be an amazing sweater. I really like it. I, however, was having like a whole moment because I realized that these two sweaters are like the exact same color scheme. And I was working on this, and then I cast this on, and I was just like, I can't have two sweaters. Obviously they will be very different. They're, you know, this is a, you know, mosaic knitting with, you know, color changing yarn, and you hold it with a super floofy yarn, and it's a whole thing. And obviously that's very different than the Twigs. But the colors that I chose for both of them are nearly identical, including this whole kind of main color being this dark tealy green. So I just couldn't, in all good faith, keep moving forward with this. I also did hop over to a yarn dyer who I had always kind of looked at but never pulled the trigger for, and that is Moondrake. So I had never used the, oh, and just in case you're curious, here's this is this bad boy, and I am making the pullover. This is the tessellated pullover. So basically I was feeling frustrated with the color choices for my cast on tessellated pullover. And I really love a knit along, you guys. I really love seeing what other people are making and kind of being part of a simultaneous make with others. It's so enjoyable. And so I was looking at what other folks were working with, and I kept seeing the Moondrake colorways, and they made some special colorways made of Spincycle's yarn before it was, so after it was spun by Spincycle, but it was obviously the natural color. I don't know if it was a kind of white ecru or gray. And then that yarn was shipped to Moondrake, who then dyed it. And I just really fell in love with this super dark, it's a navy, but there's a lot of kind of purple, like royal tones in it. It's more of a royal navy than like a dark, like ocean or ink navy. And in fact, I'll tell you the colorway. It is Midnight. Yeah, it's so lovely. So I saw this on her site, or it might have been in one of the posts from Spincycle, kind of letting everybody know about the different colors. And I thought that would be a really nice colorway. I don't have any sweaters that kind of are in this world. I have some navy sweaters, but obviously with the tonals it would be very, very different. And then I went on her website to just look at it. And then I saw this amazing custom colorway that they partnered with Spincycle to make. So this is the Spincycle. Isn't that amazing? Oh. So this is just available through Moondrake, and it was spun by Spincycle for her. And this is called Moonbeams. So good. And of course, the super bright periwinkle I had fallen in love with when I made this Tulsa tee, and I do think it works really well with my coloring. It's summery, it's bright, and she had it in her FuwaFuwa, and this is Periwinkle FuwaFuwa. 70% brushed cashmere and 30% superwash merino. So basically the inner core is the merino instead of being a silk as it would be with like a Surrey or a mohair lace. And so yeah, I just went for it. As you can see, I thought about it overnight. I put everything in a cart and I was like, am I really gonna get the yarn to make another one of these? As many of you know, I have been in a no buy except in person zone for a while. Yeah, that, you know, I have like 12 giant loopholes for that. And I guess I just cut up a new loophole, cut open a new loophole, which was, well, it's for Rhinebeck. So here it is. It is actually kind of hard to show because for some reason I wasn't sure about doing the corrugated ribbing again. So I cast on above the ribbing, just doing the stitch pattern. And then I like hopped back down and did the ribbing. But this time I did the ribbing in the FuwaFuwa. And then this is the stitch pattern. It creates kind of a waffle-like fabric. It's mosaic knitting, so you're only knitting one strand at a time, and it creates this kind of puckered waffle-like fabric, and I love it. I'm really glad I went for it. It's gonna be so much fun. And I did start with this kind of power moment of this bright, bright yellow, and then it fades into the periwinkle and then comes back out to pink, and it'll fade in and out of the periwinkle, which matches so nicely with my other contrast color. So I feel like I spent a long time looking at the test knitters and other folks who had completed theirs. And it's a really interesting way of using Spincycle's color changing pattern. Sorry. Excuse me. It's an interesting way of using it because it's really a kind of in the background. So the shifts that you get, one of the things I really liked is when those shifts corresponded with the contrast color, because it almost looks like it's just one band, you know, of color, but what's different is the texture. And so then that's creating that sense of difference, and then it goes into the next color. So I really love it. Very excited about it. I still do really enjoy the other colors. And I think that what I'm gonna do is use this to make a vest version. So there's two options for the tessellated pattern. One is a vest and one is a long sleeve pullover. So right now my plan is for this guy to be the pullover, and then I'll go back and make this guy into a little vest, which I think will be super cute. But it's a lot of knitting. And I guess that's where I am right now. I'm staring down a lot of knitting. I really I'm super excited about this, but it's not a fast knit, and there's something too about bottom up knitting that it just makes me nervous. The fit, I'm always a little concerned about. Also, for some reason, this ribbing is like rolling, which makes me a little nervous. So I may have to go back and fix that if it doesn't block down. So yeah, I'm just a little like unsure what the final product of this will look and feel like when you can't try it on as you go. So anyway, those are kind of that's the status of those projects. you don't technically need a second one of these, a second skein of the FuwaFuwa, but I was nervous about having done the corrugated ribbing if I was gonna run out. And there's also a really limited supply of a lot of this yarn because it was specially dyed particularly for these projects. So I did get another one, and I'm really excited because if I don't use it, I'm going to make a Sophie scarf with it, which is what Chelsea from the Sunday Knitting Society whipped up, and it looks so beautiful, and yeah, I'm excited about that. So yeah, that's my tessellated conundrum experience, what have you. And then I guess I should talk about what I'm thinking of casting on, but I can't cast anything on. I really can't. I need to finish at least this before mid-October. I really want to finish this by mid-October. I think I can do it. I just have to like kind of get back on the train and make this happen. I'm not really worried about finishing the Sonder. Like, it's such fun color work, and then I'm just gonna whip out the body. And it's knitting up on a, it's a DK sweater in stockinette. That's no problem. So now is the question, is it crazy? Or, okay, rather, how do I frame this? Would it be too much to try to get a third sweater done for Rhinebeck? Because I stayed up really late one night. It was one of those times where I feel like I needed to be creative. I needed to, and my work life is very creative, but I needed to do something that was gonna make my brain work in a really specific way, right? Like arranging colors, like planning, doing that. And I've been wanting to make the sheep camp sweater for quite some time, and I knew I wanted to make it with this really, really beautiful yak blend from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. And it's this silvery purple color, unlike anything else that I have. And so I also received this amazing box from Bed of Roses, and it came with this, I wish I hadn't now caked it up, this amazing skein of Chelsea Luxe yarn, which I've never used before, but it's this really unbelievably beautiful silver gray with flecks of dark navy and kind of a wonderful golden color that sometimes pops more into like a copper. Anyway, it's super stunning. And so I went on Ravelry and I was looking at quite a few different versions of the sheep camp sweater, and I found, and I'll try to find the link again and I'll post it below. I found someone who had made the sweater using Spincycle to do the color work, and then a third color. So there was like the main body, and then the color work had two corresponding colors that were not the main color, and then the rest of the body of the sweater was in the main color, and it looked amazing. And I just had this flash of this and a dark navy as the color work portions, and then the sky is the main color. So I can like see it in my mind's eye. I see the entire sweater and I'm so excited. So the color work combos are these. And these are both fingering weights, so I need to hold them with a mohair, which I love a mohair color work moment, as you all know. I think it worked out so beautifully for my Easy V sweater, so I'd love to do that again. And so you can kind of start to get the idea. The first part up here with the small repeat, this will be in the main color and the dark navy, and then the light color, the kind of silver color will be the main color in this section, with the navy being those dark spots, and then at the bottom the main colorway will come in again. So this is one of those pieces that like all that's left to do is knit it. I have like such a vision for it, and I would really, really like to be able to get it done before Rhinebeck, but I can't cast on anything new right now. I just can't, right? I mean, I really want to. I was kind of thinking that when Sonder is done, then I could cast this on, but I gotta get through these other two pieces. I gotta do them. And I'm worried that if I cast this on, I'll just like, it's all I'm gonna wanna knit on. But I'm really excited about it. So no matter what, this is gonna be kind of my next cast on. I'm really excited. And the other thing I've been thinking a lot about is a shawl. I have already cast on 2 failed shawls. Well, fail is maybe a little dramatic, but here, I'll show you. It's all right here. It's beautiful. This is the Satellite Shawl by Andrea Mowery. I even gave up so much that I took it off its cord, and it's just on a barber cord right now. Took it off the needles. It's really something, right? It's really gonna be beautiful. It's in my color palette. I just cannot make myself work on this. I don't know why. I just cannot make myself do it for whatever reason. I know once it's done, I'll wear it all the time. This is like stunning. It feels beautiful. It's not difficult. I don't know. So, and then I have a half and half wrap that's just like sitting there. Cannot make myself open up that project bag. Again, no idea why. It's just completely I want the object. I don't love making it. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's wild. So, all that said, I really want to make a fleur shawl. It's a pattern that 3 of my favorite knitting friends have made. And I would really, really, really like to make it. There's a beautiful knit along being hosted by Jackie and Carmen from the Knitting a Good Yarn podcast that I'm really, really like want to join in, like let's do this. And I've never made baubles before. I'm very excited about the project. And I'm trying to decide if I should cast it on before Rhinebeck and try to knit it, and it could be a good like travel knit, and to knit it up while I'm there, or I'd really like to make it in the Sonder yarns that it's designed for, which are the Grace and I forget if it's their mohair, I think too, that it's designed for. I think that would be really beautiful, and maybe I could get those at Rhinebeck. And then that would be kind of a nice purchase to make, but I don't know if they're gonna, you know, last year their work was being sold by another yarn store at Woolen Folk, so maybe that'll be a possibility. But I really want to cast on this shawl eventually, and another idea I had for it was to use this really cool Magpie colorway. This is their mohair. It's called Feather, and this was called non-denominational wrapping paper. It was like a Christmas colorway that I got 2 years ago now, but I love it. And I thought this could be really, really fun with just holding it with like a neutral, and that could be a really fun shawl. Or I also have a bunch of beautiful Nutidin that I could make it in. So the Fleur shawl also wants to be on my needles, but I'm not ready for her yet. And I really want to finish it. I need to finish a shawl. And so I have to figure that out. I have to get over my shawl moment and like actually do it. Like get over my shawl blockage, whatever's blocking me from finishing shawls. I have no idea. Oh, sweet. There's a beautiful nest of gray doves that's right in our neighbor's tree out this window, and like 3 of them just kind of all flew home at the same time. It was a nice little moment. Okay, so that's where we are with our knitting. In terms of acquisitions, I got that beautiful yarn from the Bed of Roses, and also a gorgeous project bag in the Summer Solstice kit from Bed of Roses. I love her aesthetic. I love that shop. I genuinely feel like if I could, I would just kind of move in there. It's like, can I run away from the toy chaos of my room and just like, not my room, my home. Because there are 2 very little people who, young people who live in my house and have lots of toys everywhere. But I also got in that box my first like proper stitch markers that are not just like the little loops that come on clothing tags, which is what I usually use. But this has been really, really fun to have a little bit of knitting jewelry, and it's really, really lovely. One of my favorite ones has a little teal stone and an L for Lily, which is lovely. And yeah, so that was my main acquisition, besides my Tessellated kit, which you already saw, and which is, I agree, like it was extravagant. It was a moment. I'm excited about it, but you know, it was not an inexpensive purchase, and I'm really happy that I kind of went for it, but it also was totally unnecessary and a little over the top and opulent, which is just kind of my vibe right now, I guess. Just a little over the top. So I guess that's all the knitting. I thought this was going to take a lot longer. I think I spoke very quickly, and I apologize for that. I am, as I said, in this kind of overdrive mode because of this new project that I'm launching. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Basically, so in my work life, I work at a art gallery. I used to be a curator for an art museum, and now I work in the commercial space with still most of my clients that are kind of my responsibility and that I work with at the gallery are museums. But I also had some really, really special relationships with clients, and over the summer I started doing what we call the gallery summer school. And it was really fun. We talked a lot about art history, about just kind of how to look at art, and it got me thinking about, you know, I love to teach, and there's a lot of folks out there who are interested in the fine art world but don't necessarily feel like they have the vocabulary or the access to it. And I thought about how cool it would be to have an online course for people. And so I went into research mode, which is like very my vibe. And I actually spoke with 50 people who I had never met before. I am focusing primarily on interior designers and interior stylists. So people who are already sourcing art and interior styling, soft furnishings, things like that, on behalf of clients. A lot of folks in that space, from my research, don't have necessarily a formal training in art or art history. A lot of them have learned amazing things and are doing a really incredible job. And also there were a lot of people who felt like that was a missing piece for them, their kind of art education. Just knowing the difference between different kinds of prints, for example, you know, a lithograph or a seriograph and a monotype and edition sizes, that came up a lot. But also even just different kinds of painting styles and having the vocabulary to talk about them. So after these 50 phone calls, I have been, first of all, completely overwhelmed with the generosity of people to spend time on a Zoom call with me, telling me about their careers and businesses. And then I've been putting together this course, and we're gonna start the first cohort in September. So I am can't believe it's happening, but it's really happening. I had a great week of interviewing students or potential students. There's kind of an application process because it's a really specialized kind of niche, and in order for it to really be as transformational as I think that it is, we really want to have students who are really engaged in the material and they know where they want to go, right? I can get them there. They just need to know where they want to go. So having those conversations has been really inspiring, and I'm really excited about doing this new thing. And I said this at the beginning, but I really should say again, I never would have been able to do this if it hadn't been for starting a knitting YouTube channel. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. My ability to connect with people through video, through media, to post on social media even. I mean, you know, before knitting, I had one, you know, private social media account that was basically pictures of my kids for their families, and that's great too. And I would get nervous every time I thought about putting myself out there, frankly, in almost any way, unless it was like a very formal gallery talk that I love giving, that I felt like I prepared for and I could do and like execute. Like that's how I engaged in public speaking and frankly in inserting myself into the world. I had this really narrow idea of what that looked like. And as soon as, sorry, this is kind of emotional, like as soon as I discovered the community of knitters on Instagram and meeting people and posting stuff and posting mistakes, posting things that didn't work out, being open about who I was to kind of the world, for me was really, really changed my life. And then the idea of doing that via YouTube, and like, yeah, anybody in the world could see it. Like my neighbors have found my YouTube channel. And at first it was at first it was really scary. At first part of that was really scary and brought up some stuff for me. But the more I've done it, the more I have found a lot of self-value. I've been able to really, I don't know, love myself more, embrace my mistakes more, move through the world in a way that I think I feel more authority maybe, or even I can feel a little bit more powerful. And so I just want to say thank you to this really, really special space on the internet, where I have been able to do this work and be creative and open, and it's led me to what I think is a really amazing idea that I know is going to help other people to unleash their creativity, to find their sense of authority and their sense of ownership over their ideas and their opinions. Like, it's so cool. It's so cool that I feel like I can give that to others. So thank you to this amazing group of people on the internet who watch me talk about sweaters because you have changed my life, and I think you've also given me the ability to help others and to really be of service. And that's one of the things that I've realized a lot about myself and about my work in the world is I really love feeling of service, and being able to do that through the arts is super important to me. So thank you all. I have linked just a little description of what I'm up to down below, and there is a button on that website. It's my website for collection management, which I did before I was at the gallery. But if you do click that link, it will direct you to book a Zoom call with me if you're interested in joining the course. But just so you folks know, we won't be talking about knitting. It's really it's a really specific group of folks who are interested in learning more about how to source art and how to communicate about art and aesthetics. So if that is you, absolutely click that button. I can't wait to talk to you. But if you just want to chat about knitting, leave a comment below. I would love to see it, and we can definitely chat about it there. So thank you all. I hope you've had amazing summers. I hope you're feeling really energized and powerful going into the fall season, and I hope you just drink up every last golden drop of whatever season you're in right now. Thank you again, and please remember to put yourself out there. There's no one else like you, and the world is better when we can see you. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.